add on to what Sway is saying, I think the biggest thing that people miss about our generation versus the generation before is the fact that we live in a society that has no privacy at all. And I'm not talking about like people just getting on cameras, deciding to do what they want to do on camera. Yo, y'all generation was allowed to make mistakes and up. It is a fact that Barack Obama himself admitted to smoking before. Like, if he was growing up in this generation, there would be footage that would ruin his career. Cancel culture is a thing of our society. Y'all didn't have cancel culture. Y'all did pretty much what y'all wanted, carte blanche, without the worries of a lot of this shit coming up later in life. We got to deal with the fact that if you make a mistake, that can be caught on camera. It go on your resume. You live with that forever. Y'all didn't have to deal with that.
So my
y'all elected black leadership. How y'all got no black leaders and y'all?
Wait, what's his name?
These niggas.
What's his name? Stoners. Hey, Stoners. Do me a favor. Say that last part you just said one more time for me.
I believe. What are we talking about? Marion Barry started for DC, and it turned into a federal thing, and see how it blew up. Now everybody can get Section 8, but he originally started in DC, right?
What you're talking about?
I get that. My argument is, Auntie J, is y'all can't say all the black leaders went to jail, and at the same time, y'all voted all these black mayors in. What were they?
No, I didn't say all the black leaders. I said that's when it became.
That's what they said. They tried to make the argument that all the black leadership went to jail.
I'm not saying that they all.
No. Community leaders, bro. Community leaders and mayors and that's so different.
Okay,
that's
why
so different.
Community. You got to be responsible for who y'all put as y'all leadership.
Where was the
Why do we the 90s though?
Why did we divert?
That did not represent us.
Why
That's
did we
on y'all.
divert the neighborhood watch to the gangs? Why was the gangs now our new neighborhood watch?
Gangs was originally created to protect the neighborhoods.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly why gangs were actually formed.
Crips was community resistance and progress.
That is the truth.
And I said, why did the gangs from our neighborhood watch turn into gangs?
Because of the drugs. It started to be a turf war of where you can sell drugs at.
Yep. It was because of the drugs.
Who was that on?
That's on everybody.
Yeah, that's we allowed the government to flush.
I'm talking about in our generation.
You ain't putting that on me.
Bro, listen. No, not you, Sway. Not your generation either.
Our generation.
Y'all gotta understand something. Y'all gotta understand something.
Y'all gotta cop to something, though.
Listen, bro. Y'all, this is what y'all don't understand. This is what y'all don't understand. What we doing right now is not even productive because we're doing exactly what they've always wanted us to do, which is go at each other as black people. Now, hold on, Auntie J. Hold on, Auntie J. Hold on. Listen, what I'm saying is this: the same way they wanted black men and black women to go at each other back in the feminist era, they wanted black people the black men to start going at each other for territory. Now we going at each other for whose generation is at fault for all the fuck ups. They've always wanted us to go at each other at the end of the fucking day.
It's crazy. No. It's crazy because
why every generation got to take accountability except Gen X?
We take.
I'm not Gen X. Talk to Gen X.
I said I take accountability for what I do.
I'm gonna say this: the people who don't take accountability are the late Gen X and like the early millennials, meaning that the older millennials and the younger Gen X. That group of people, they take no accountability. The millennials like Quan and the old motherfuckers like Auntie J are older. They somehow can take accountability for wherever they're doing. Now, this little subsection of age groups from like like 50 to 38, they just hate taking any form of accountability, bro. That shit's crazy.
So what did they do specifically though?
What accountability did I not take?
You took no accountability for the actions
It's still
of
a
the
dog.
grown men in the
Too many
community.
people
I
talking
can't
all
say
the
that.
time.
I'll take accountability.
What'd you say, Black? What is it, Black Sheep?
You didn't take accountability for the other men in the community who participated in the gangs and the drug selling.
Bro, I was born in
and the
82.
killing.
What are you talking about? That was before me. How do you want me to take accountability for that?
That was right.
The problem
That was
is
right
that we're
then.
not really addressing the timelines. That's really the biggest problem right now. So, like, Sway, when you said the later Gen X to early millennials, can you explain, like, specifically what you expect them to take accountability for?
Right.
I said it. Gentrification.
Wait. No, I'm asking Sway though, just
Are you
because
serious?
he said that statement though.
I expect them to take the accountability for the fuck ups of my generation.
But like, what?
How?
No,
Wait.
Hold on, y'all. He trolling. He's trolling.
I'm just asking.
No, I'm not, because I'm using the same logic Rojo
just
used.
asking
No, I'm using the same logic Rojo used. He gave the accountability on his OGs to why his generation fucked up, and so that's why I'm doing. The same way my generation the same way my generation fucked up, and y'all keep complaining about us. I'm putting accountability on y'all. Y'all old enough to be my dads and my uncles. It's y'all.
Okay, so you gonna start listening to us too?
You ain't gotta be talking to me. I got my head on my shoulders. Don't talk to the generator why we still fucked up and who you complaining about. You ain't complaining about me.
But
I got three.
Not you in particular. Not you in particular, but your generation.
You're not talking about me. You talk about my generation. So my generation so fucked up. Go take accountability and fix them, because they you are OGs, right? You are dads and uncles, right? You are big
specifics. Can you be specific?
Bro, you on some bullshit,
like,
bro.
He ain't gonna be specific, bro. He ain't gonna be specific.
The bullshit that you hate podcast is the same logic Rojo used.
One mic.
I just want to hear Sway real quick though. Like, can you give me one point in history that either the late Gen X or the early millennials did something specifically that harmed your generation?
I just named it to have at it.
I mean, what the Quan said, baby mamas, the lack of game, 4th grade reading levels on average for the boys. I mean, you can go down the list. Why the girls are the way they are. Y'all can go down the list.
Okay,
we can go down the list to the lack of game and the lack of structure we have in the community. And at some point, y'all niggas was the next ones up to bring that to us, and y'all didn't do that. If you fall under that, you fall under
Black
that.
politicians that didn't do that.
But when we're telling you that shit don't work and we're not gonna listen to y'all no more, y'all can't.
Y'all listen to somebody that dropped the books on you. Come on now. They're not gonna listen to you unless you're saying something that's pertinent or relevant to what they need in their life now.
The black men that had daughters
constantly voting Democrat.
An enemy to the fucking community, bro. All y'all black men that had daughters were an enemy to the community.
Bro, do y'all even think?
What age are you talking about, Sway?
Your age, Rojo?
No, he's not.
Rojo's like 40. I mean,
he's not. My oldest daughter is 16. Like,
Rojo's
40.
No,
not
he's not talking to me. That's what I'm saying. That's why TK.
Rojo's 40, right? Rojo's 40, right? My dad's 43.
Your generation, Rojo.
Okay.
I mean,
no, not my generation.
Rojo, you're not far off of being the age of my dad.
Right. But listen, that's why TK.
15, but I'm still 24. If you had a kid at 20 or 17, or no, if you had a kid at 17, your kid would be my age.
Way old enough to be your child, Rojo.
Right. I get what you're saying. Listen, that's why TK asked the question exactly the way he did. He said, be specific as far as the generation and the time frame that you're speaking of, because I don't fit in the complaints you have.
Did I not say 55 to 40 earlier?
I'm 40, so that doesn't apply to me.
38.
Are you every 40-year-old?
No,
I'm 40, literally 40.
Are you every 40-year-old?
No, Sway. But what he's trying to ask you is,
you can agree that there are 40-year-olds that have older kids than your kids, right?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
absolutely.
And so in the same
That's
breath,
not the majority, though, Sway.
so
That's not the majority.
it's not about the majority, bro. Because I gave you a range. He asked for a range. I said 55 to 40.
Okay, so cool. If I gotta take a hit for my generation, I would say this: my generation probably created more baby mamas than necessary. Is that good enough? Is that good enough? I didn't. I only had kids with my wives.
I don't think anything changed as far as baby mamas go. Like I specifically know someone that's like outside of that range that has like almost 10 kids and
I do too.
Doesn't plan on raising any of them. So I mean,
you got
I don't think that sort of situation has changed much.
Where was his dad?
I'm saying politically, y'all did a lot.
You know, you asked a good question though, Sway.
Yo, Quan, you know I rock with you, bro, but
no, but it's the truth.
I need you to stop, bro.
The Gen X not
he wild, bro.
Did y'all not vote Bill Clinton in?
I need you to stop.
We didn't.
What does Bill Clinton have to do?
The thing you're saying sounds crazy.
Bill Clinton was horrible to the black community.
Quan.
What
was the black
Clinton's
community?
term? What was Clinton's term?
Oh my God.
What years was Clinton in office?
That was what, 91, 92? That was adults.
So how much you want to bet? How much you want to bet? See, Sway, Quan, you gotta stop, bro. I graduated in 2000, so guess who I couldn't vote for, fam?
Exactly.
What are you talking about, bro? You off?
Hold on, so okay.
You're talking about
I'm going by the year that Sway gave me. He said that
that's why you can't apply that to us. You got to go up in age, fam.
Up in age, bro. You can't
all right,
apply
well,
that.
maybe my timeline is messed up.
That's what we're trying to get you to understand.
Messed up like that, Quan, because
I was 11 years old when Clinton was in office.
Quan, this is the problem.
I'm talking about Gen X.
Hold on, Quan, listen. This is the problem. Sway tried to tell you earlier, right? If you look at what the age range is for Gen X, for most of them, really, it's 15 years, bro. Right? So think about that. If you say Gen X is
40 to 55,
1980, so it was 65. Well, was it 65 to 1980?
40 to 55, or 43. What was it?
43.
Said it earlier. I think it was 43.
I'm talking about the years that he said, right?
I was told that Gen X became adults in the early 90s. Is that correct?
I don't know how accurate.
Wait. Just look at the screen right now. 65 to 80. You see that? 65 to 80. So wait
about the older Gen X.
Bruh, God fucking damn it. Wait. Quan, if Bill Clinton came in 1992, right? So the oldest person, 1965, so 92 would be 27 years.
That's
right?
voting age.
That's true. That's true.
And that's what they chose to vote for.
Wait, Quan. But what he's trying to get you to realize is
I was 10, nigga.
Nowhere near that. Exactly. So
I'm not talking about the men on the panel. I'm talking about Gen X as a whole.
Wait, but this is the point. What I'm trying to get you to realize, they're lumping a whole nother set of people together. That's what you're trying to get you to realize. It's a whole nother set of adults that was adults before we actually became adults. They're still Gen X, but they made decisions that we didn't. That's what he's trying to get you to realize. They're still labeled Gen X, but they're a whole nother subset of adults. They were already adults before we became adults. That's what they're trying to get you to realize. But what I will do is this. I'll accept the premise that you're trying to speak on, but I still need you to stop saying it because you sound insane. Look at all of the presidents that have, you said Bill Clinton, right? Who do we have before and after him? Republican presidents. We had Barack Obama. Then what do we have after Barack Obama? Trump. So who do we have before Bill Clinton? It was
one of the Bushes,
Bush.
George Bush Sr.
We had George Bush after Bush. We had George Bush before Clinton. That's what I'm saying. All of these things that y'all talk about, right, you're not necessarily wrong, but the thing that y'all let Sway pull y'all into, because Sway be on some racism shit.
Racism.
Yeah. That's me facetiously. That's me facetiously using racism. It's really ageism, but I just facetiously use racism. But the point is this: at the end of the day, right? When you think about all of the things that we're talking about, that affected the black community, right? You could say it was handed down. You could say this or that, but it all didn't start out bad. It started out okay, and then it turned bad based on the circumstances, right? So it's just a continuation. I don't think you could say this generation is the reason why this generation is messed up. But to me, the problem with that is that you're not pointing at what actually happened. You're just looking at the people. You're expecting for people who have no power and no control over what's going on, right, in their community. The people didn't decide to remove the vocational programs from the school, which allowed people to have, bro, in the 60s and 50s, them men was taking care of their kids with third grade educations.
Right.
School in third and fourth grade. You talking about reading on the fourth grade level? That's been going on for generations. Because even back then, the kids was dropping out. I mean, the shorties was dropping out of school so that they could work and help bring in money for the family. And by the time they was adults, they had a skill, right? But then they even had the skills in school. That's the whole point, right? The people didn't ask to take the vocational training programs out of the school. They didn't ask to have drugs dropped on them. They didn't ask for feminism. They didn't ask for the Vietnam War. They didn't ask for none of that, bro. All of those things that disturb the ebbs and flow of the black community. And now you got people scrambling, trying to find a way, trying to make a way. You got some people poor, you got some people middle class, and then you got a few that made it out and they never reached back. They never looked back. But why would they? Because if they come back, they're probably gonna get attacked. Like the whole issue is so complex, and the way that you all are conversating about it to me is very immature. You have to be willing to point exactly at what happened. If you ain't gonna talk about what happened, bro, all you're gonna do is sit up here and demonize the very people who look like you. We do this shit every day, bro. Don't we ever get tired of that?
That's what I was saying earlier.
We could provide that context for Generation X, right? But for some reason, when it comes to millennials and zennials, all of that, what you said, all that context, it goes straight out the window. It's everything. The young generation ain't doing this. Young generation ain't doing that.
What are they not doing?
Like y'all can provide all that context for y'all generation.
We're not finishing.
Wait. We actually having a conversation right now. Wait, Quan, look. We're actually having a conversation right now. What are they saying that the younger generation ain't doing? What are they saying they not doing?
We just had a whole conversation about how the younger generation is operating like this. The younger generation don't like Sway. You was there.
Listen, I'll say what I said. I said y'all don't listen to us, is what I said. So for y'all to sit up here and say we don't want to make a change for y'all for the better, how is that even possible when I say y'all don't listen? Like Sway just said, his dad's 43, I'm 40, right? Like y'all niggas is old enough to be our kids. Why y'all think we don't want y'all to win, bro? We want y'all to win, but y'all want to win y'all way, and y'all don't want to take no advice from us.
No, it ain't.
I'm not actually.
And then when shit don't go right, y'all point at us.
This is it. When we tell y'all that, hey, we going through something different than what y'all went through, and we're trying to explain to you it's not the same. Be like, nah, nigga, it's the same. But then the same breath, but in the same breath, y'all say we didn't go through what y'all went through, and y'all went through something different than us.
No. Give us an example.
Y'all want y'all struggle
of what it is that you all go through that we didn't go through or wouldn't understand.
One of the things that you all go through, you didn't go through.
One
of the things you all go through that we didn't
exposure, Sway.
I can't
that we didn't go through was we like the police. The police in our time was called officer friendly. And they came around the neighborhood and they walked and they got to know the people. He was called officer friendly. We had him. We could sleep literally.
And TJ, back then y'all had the same officers all the time, right? It wasn't no rotations and all that shit.
All the time. New officer, then he came around and he knocked on the door and he let us know, you know what I'm saying, that he's a new officer. that'll be walking this beat. They literally did that.
And then what happened, Auntie J?
Rojo.
Huh?
Then what happened with those officers?
They died out.
How?
What happened was the generation, the funding, the money, inflation, a lot of variables.
Also drugs being flooded into the community.
Drugs didn't come until the early mid-80s.
And then what? Those officers were placed. Those officers were placed in pockets, right?
No. Listen, it wasn't drugs because in my day we had drugs too. It was that particular drug that came out and messed up the black community.
But hold on, I'm talking about the cop. I'm talking about the cop. Those particular police were placed in pocket. Yes or no? They started looking out for the community in a different way. Am I wrong, podcast?
What I'm saying is this. The question was directed towards Sway about their particular generation. So right now, what you're talking about is not their generation, right? That's something that happened between Auntie J's generation and our generation. It was in between those generations, that time frame. What this question was to Sway about their generation specifically, right? What is it that they have endured, right, that we didn't endure or wouldn't understand? So that's the question to Sway. If you can answer that really quickly, Sway.
The age and the level of which social media, live streaming technology has advanced. Y'all didn't go through that.
What's the application of that? How is it applied?
You grew up on it. You were a child, and this is what was put in. You developed your ideology on. A lot of people was on social media my age as early as like 6th grade. I mean, motherfuckers had Twitter and Instagram and trying to do all that shit in 6th grade. And Facebook was around before that, but y'all was already grown adults, or at least becoming adults by the time Facebook and all that shit was developed. I think YouTube was created in 2007. I was 8 when that was created. And so these little things like that, you know, I hear a big complaint about our generation, of the way we use technology and the lack of opportunities. That's the real thing I hear from the older generations, is that we don't capitalize on the opportunities given to us or available to us.
Well, that's not true. But that's not true at all. But let's address that. What you said. Huh? No. I'm not saying what you're saying isn't true. I'm saying what they're saying about your generation. Whoever the people are who are saying that, they're lying. That's not true. Y'all do capitalize. That's one of the things I appreciate. But what I want to address was this, right? So it's different, right? But it's not absolutely completely different. So what you all had was social media, right? And there's a level of programming that comes with the social media that you all have. What we had was regular media. Bro, we grew up on TV. We was the first generation, really. The Gen Xers were the first generation to grow up on TV for real. Like literally, your parents is gone and you sitting in front of the TV, right? And then they hit us with the video, right? They hit us with the video games. So you either had regular TV or you had video games. So we experienced what you all experienced similarly. I'm not trying to equate it to say it was the same, right? But it was his own experience that was different from the generation prior to us, right? And here's the ironic thing about that, Sway. The same people who talked crazy to us about growing up that way was the people who raised us that way. So I understand exactly what you're talking about, right? I get it. But I do think in conversation, I'm sorry, Quan, I'm almost done. I do think in conversation, bro, like in a real, not like a debating, arguing conversation, in real conversation, we have understanding about that, bro. We do. Just based on our being pushed in front of the TV, in front of the video games. We have an understanding about how social media affected you. Go ahead, Quan, I'm sorry.
But to add on to what Sway is saying, I think the biggest thing that people miss about our generation versus the generation before is the fact that we live in a society that has no privacy at all. And I'm not talking about like people just getting on cameras, deciding to do what they want to do on camera. Yo, y'all generation was allowed to make mistakes and fuck up. It is a fact that Barack Obama himself admitted to smoking food. Like, if he was growing up in this generation, there would be footage that would ruin his career. Cancel culture is a thing of our society. Y'all didn't have cancel culture. Y'all did pretty much what y'all wanted, carte blanche, without the worries of a lot of this shit coming up later in life. We got to deal with the fact that if you make a mistake, that shit could be caught on camera. It go on your resume. You live with that shit forever. Y'all didn't have to deal with that.
So my question to the young people on the panel right now would be this. Based on what you just said, my only question would be this, and this is going to probably be cause of debate. What is the age the age demographic?
I got you, dog.
Demographic, right? That instituted cancel culture.
Millennials.
Not us.
What?
I would say millennials.
You said you're 34?
We became adults in 2010. I became 21 in 2010. Cancel culture was starting up what? In 05? Oh no. I would say 08, 09.
Really?
That's true.
That would be you, buddy.
That's not true.
That would be your generation.
Cancel culture came about around the Me Too movement. So that's was
not
like,
true,
20...
bro. Like, hold up. Let me get this out. Let's get the facts straight. This shit started in 06, 07, but let's be real. It was you old bitches at that time. It was them old hoes in y'all generations that got this shit started and got them young girls influenced and riled the fuck up. Let's call it for what it is.
Exactly. I got bitches mad at me and ain't do shit to them.
Who the first person to get canceled?
I guess I'm not trying to gaslight you. I just don't believe that. I'm
white people really make cancel
I don't believe that either.
Wait. Okay, so wait. Hold on. Real quick. Wait, let me ask y'all this question. Wait. Answer me this question because this will clarify something for me. Is it possible that cancel culture was around, but it didn't have the name or the title cancel culture yet? Because other than that, I don't think it goes back as far as 06, 07, 08, bro. That sounds like
R. Kelly was getting his shit off in y'all generation.
Like me of what cancel culture is. Can you enlighten me?
Granville, can you please explain that?
That kind of makes my point though. Like the fact.
Please explain what? What do I need to explain?
My point is
your definition of cancel culture.
Y'all generation did what they wanted to.
We got that part, Quan.
That's why it ain't our generation who created cancel culture.
Hold on, let me bump this doc. And I'll be right back.
Y'all did what y'all want, and we suffer the consequences.
Okay.